My name is Emily Carter. I'm 30 years old, a middle school teacher in Columbus, Ohio, and the first thing I ever owned that no one could take from me was a 2-bedroom condo with a squeaky hallway light and a deadbolt that clicked like a heartbeat. I thought that meant safety. I thought that meant control. Then my doorbell rang 3 sharp times and everything I believed about family cracked at the edges. I opened the door and there they were, my parents, Thomas and Linda, 5 suitcases stacked like a wall between us. My mother's voice came out papery and fragile. We lost the house, bad investments, nowhere else to go. My father didn't look me in the eye. Just temporary, he said. 2, maybe 3 weeks while we get back on our feet. He put his hand on my shoulder like I was 8 years old again, and he still had the right. I didn't know how to say no, that's the truth. My mouth knew the word, but my body forgot how to shape it. I moved aside and let them in. The cold rushed past me like a warning. If they were ruined, they hid it well. My mother slipped into my kitchen like it belonged to her, opened the cabinet where I keep mugs without asking, and set the kettle on like she had muscle memory in this place. My father rolled the suitcases down the hall with that slow, certain push men use when they've decided something already. He stopped at my living room wall, took an old family photo from his bag and hung it on a nail that wasn't there a minute ago. He didn't ask. He didn't hesitate. That picture, Ryan's arm slung over my shoulder at 15 while I smiled the small smile of a background character, went up like a flag. I remembered the graduation photo that never made our wall, mine. Ryan's trophies did. I stood there, hands empty, feeling the ground tilt. When you've been trained for a lifetime to keep the peace, you don't fight on instinct. You freeze. You make tea. You swallow questions whole. That night I lay in bed and listened through thin drywall to the rhythm of their voices. Not words at first, just the comfort of 2 people who still believed they were in charge. Then a sentence slid under the door and cut me open. Ryan's new place, nearly 1 million, it's perfect. My chest tightened. Ryan, the golden boy. Ryan, who didn't call on holidays. Ryan, who always needed one more chance. My parents had just told me they'd lost everything, and they were whispering about their son in a mansion. In the dark, pieces started to click, sharp as glass. They hadn't lost their house. They'd sold it. They'd sold it to buy my brother a palace, and now they were settling into mine like it was their prize for good behaviour. I stared at the ceiling and let the anger rise, not like a storm, like a plan. I set a clock in my head, 24 hours to learn the truth, document it, and decide how this ends, not with a fight, with a finish. Before I tell you what I did next, where would you draw the line when love turns into leverage? Would you start a countdown or give them 1 more week? Tell me in the comments and subscribe for more whispers of revenge, stories where boundaries are drawn in ink, not pencil. The morning smelled like bacon and a lie. My mother hummed at the stove. My father measured my wall with a tape like a surveyor. That little pencil scratch on my paint felt like a trespass mark. I poured coffee and said nothing while the kettle sang. Plan, not panic. Step 1, verify the money. Step 2, document everything. Step 3, set a boundary in writing with a deadline. Step 4, line up witnesses. Step 5, escalate if necessary. I slipped onto the balcony and called Mark Dawson, my old college friend who turned into a very good lawyer and an even better reader of trouble. I need property records, I said. Sale price, closing date, disbursement trail. Text me the address and your parents' full names, he said. Give me a couple hours. By noon, I said. Please. By noon. I opened a note on my phone and typed as my hands steadied. Guest policy. Temporary stay approved for 48 hours only, ending Friday 5 p.m. This is not permission to establish residency. Please confirm you're arranging other housing. I dropped it in our family group chat so the timestamp couldn't vanish. 3 dots bloomed, then died. My mother finally wrote, "We're still processing everything. Thank you for being patient. Not a plan, not a yes." Fog. I screenshotted it. When I came back inside, my mother was rearranging my spice rack like she was mapping a future here. "This will make cooking easier for us," she said, and the word us stretched in the air until it snapped. "For you?" I asked. "For us," she repeated, softer. My father tapped the wall with his knuckle. "This stud will hold a floating shelf," he said. "I'll need your drill." "No construction," I said. "Not today." He shrugged like I was being fussy, but the message under his shrug was clear. This place already feels like ours. At 11:51 my phone rang. "They sold the house last month," Mark said. $950 cash. Funds wired within 48 hours to an account tied to a deed under Ryan Carter. Upper Arlington address. Big lot, quiet street. "Email me the deed and HUD statement," I said. "They're already in your inbox." "You're a lifesaver." "You owe me coffee," he said. "And maybe Kevlar." Proof changes the air. The numbers on that PDF were black and cold. Parcel, closing date, $950,000. Ryan's name. A utility note listed an occupant, Samantha Blake. I printed everything at the lobby machine, slid the pages into a folder, and felt the weak part of me sit down so the strong part could stand up. On my way back upstairs, I stopped at the mailboxes. A fat stack waited in my slot. The top envelope made my stomach drop. Change of address confirmation. My parents' names. My unit number. Behind it, 2 bank statements addressed to Thomas and Linda Carter, C.O. Emily Carter. A credit offer, a utility welcome letter. They hadn't just arrived. They'd planted a flag. I snapped the envelopes, proof they were rooting in, and emailed the photos to myself with the subject line, "Residency Attempt." When I walked back in, my father was pawing through my toolbox, eyes on the folder. "What's that?" "Receipts," I said flatly. My mother lifted a frame. "This would look lovely in the hallway." "No," I told her. "Family asks. Family doesn't take." I needed one more pillar under the plan. Witness and paper. I knocked next door. Mr. Roberts answered in socks and a Buckeyes t-shirt. "Quick favour," I said. "If anything gets loud today, would you stand in my doorway for a moment? You don't have to say a word. Just be there." He looked past me toward my living room. "You okay?" "I will be," I said. "I just need eyes and ears." "You've got them," he said. "Text me." Back inside, I emailed my property manager. "Please send the lease section on guests and unauthorized occupants." Her reply landed in 2 minutes. Guests may stay up to 7 consecutive days with tenant approval. Any attempt to establish mail or utility service indicates tenancy and requires written authorization from management. I printed it and tucked it behind the deed. On the stairs, a memory hit me like missing a step. Ryan's 10th birthday. Chrome bike with red racing stripes for him, socks for me. Mum had hugged me and whispered, "Ryan just needs a win right now." The rule crystallized that day: smile, be small, don't make trouble. At 3:07 p.m, Margaret called from Miller's Market. I could hear the buzz of the deli counter behind her. "Ran into your father," she said. "He was telling Mr. Hale. We're staying with Emily. She won't throw us out. She's too soft. Besides, we changed the address already. If she wants us gone, she'll have to evict us. That takes time." The words landed like nails. "Thank you," I said. I needed to hear it out loud. "You know what to do," she said. "I do." Plan update. Set the countdown for the morning. Assemble the packet, deed, HUD, lease clause, change of address photos, guest policy email, group chat screenshot. Script the boundary, clear, firm, time-boxed. Put Mr. Roberts on standby. If they refuse, call 911. That night I cooked because slicing onions felt like control. My mother set the table like it was hers. My father took the head of the table without asking. "Your condo has a second bedroom," he said between bites. "It's practical." I put the folder beside my plate. He eyed it, suddenly not hungry. "We need a plan," I said. "Where are you staying after Friday at 5 p.m? My mother twisted her napkin. "It's been such an emotional week." "Address," I said, "and a date." "We'll figure it out," my father said. "Stop being dramatic." "Confirm it in writing tonight," I said. He laughed once. "You're making this complicated." "No," I said, "I'm making it clear." In my room I drafted one more message for the record. "Reminder, temporary stay ends Friday 5 p.m. Please confirm your next address by 10 a.m. tomorrow. Any mail or utilities you redirected to my unit must be cancelled today." I hit send. 3 dots. Nothing. Silence that felt like a dare. At 10:08 p.m, my mother knocked gently on my doorframe. "We're turning in," she said. "Tomorrow, we can talk?" "We talk at 10, I said, "at the table, with everything on it." "We're family," she whispered. "We should be able to work this out." "We will," I said. "One way or another." I set 2 alarms, one for 9:30, prep, one for 10, go. I lay awake counting what I controlled. The locks, the paperwork, the clock. Under the hum of the heater, something inside me shifted. Not a feeling, a decision. They hadn't stumbled into my home. They'd marched in with strategy. They believed I wouldn't push back. They believed wrong. At 9:55 a.m, I lined the evidence across the table like tools. Deed, HUD, lease clause, change of address letters, time-stamped texts. I wanted no loopholes, no room for mercy to get confused with weakness. At 10, they were already in the room pretending to read a magazine. "We need to talk," I said. "Now." My mother lowered the glossy page slowly. "Emily, sweetheart, what's wrong?" "What's wrong?" I slid the deed across the table. $950,000, that's what's wrong. You sold your house and bought Ryan a mansion. Then you redirected your mail here. That's not temporary. That's a takeover. My father's jaw twitched. "Who told you that?" "Doesn't matter," I said. "I have the proof." I tapped the folder. "Why did you lie? Why did you think you could move in and make my home your backup plan?" My mother reached for my hand. "We were going to explain." "No," I said. "Explain now or pack your bags." My father stood so fast the magazine slapped the floor. "You don't talk to us like that," he said, "after all we've done for you." "All you've done for me?" I felt it rise in me, not tears, not trembling clarity. "You gave Ryan everything. You gave me lies. You told me you lost your home when you handed it to him, and you expected me to hand over mine." He stepped close, breath hot with anger. "Show some respect." "Show me your bank records," I said. "Show me you didn't funnel it all to him." My mother's eyes went glassy. "Please, Emily, we're your parents." "Then act like it," I said. "Tell the truth. Otherwise you're gone." His hand moved before my brain could catch it. A bright, hard crack across my cheek. The sound echoed off the cabinets, and then there was nothing but the kind of silence that makes you think you imagined it. Heat bloomed under my skin. For a second I saw a reel of Ryan getting bikes and trophies and second chances while I clapped politely from the sidelines. In that sting, 30 years of being the safe one burned away. "How dare you?" I said. "In my home!" My mother gasped, but she didn't reach for me. That absence hurt in a place no ice pack could reach. A knock hit the doorframe. Mr. Roberts leaned in, wide-eyed. "Everything okay, Emily?" "Just a family conversation," I said evenly. "Thank you for checking." He nodded once, slow. "I'm next door if you need me." When the door clicked shut, I turned back to my parents. "You have 30 minutes to leave," I said, "or I call the police." My mother folded into the couch and sobbed. "Don't do this. We have nowhere to go." My father's mouth curled. "Ungrateful, we gave you life." I set my phone on the counter and started the timer. The red numbers glowed. 30 more. 29 minutes left, I said. They stared, waiting for me to break. The old me might have. The old me spent years bending in doorways so other people could pass. I watched the seconds drop, 29:17, 26:52, 21:09, and felt my heartbeat fall into rhythm with the clock. At 15 noir, my mother tried again. "We can fix this. We can be a family." "Then be honest," I said. "Where's the 9:50 now?" She looked at my father. He looked at the floor. The clock kept falling. At 05, my father stood, muscles tight. "You'll regret this," he said. "You'll pay." I lifted my phone and opened the email chain, 2 written notices and the time-stamped guest limit text, then dialed. 911, I said. "My parents are trespassing in my condo and refusing to leave. I've given written notice. I have documentation." 10 minutes later, 2 officers stood in my doorway. I handed over my lease and the folder, the emails open on my screen. "This is my property," I said. "They changed their mailing address here without permission." The older officer scanned the pages, then looked at my parents. "Proof of residency?" My father's face mottled. "This is our home too." The officer shook his head. "No documents, no claim." He nodded toward the suitcases. "You need to gather your belongings and leave." My father took a half step toward me. "You'll pay for this." The younger officer moved between us. "Sir, back off. Another threat, and you leave in cuffs." My mother grabbed his arm and whispered something I didn't catch. He glared at me like I'd lit the match on his life. Maybe I did. Or maybe he handed me the match and asked me to hold it while he poured gasoline everywhere. They packed noisily, slamming drawers like the sound could bruise me. My mother's sobs grew louder, performance tears rolling off a face that could still find the right angle. My father muttered words I won't repeat. None of them were sorry. At the door he turned for one last strike. "You're no daughter of mine." I met his eyes and didn't blink. "You made that choice the day you lied to me." The officers escorted them into the hallway. The door closed. The deadbolt clicked. That little sound I'd loved since I moved in reached me different now. Not safety, something harder. Ownership. I put an ice pack on my cheek and sat at the table where the evidence had been. The room smelled like onions and a line I could finally see. My hands shook, not from fear, from the force it takes to break a lifetime habit. A week later, the story made its way back to me through Margaret. My parents moved into Ryan's palace the same night they left mine. 3 days in, Ryan threw them out. "You're ruining my lifestyle," he told them. My father's temper didn't match the decor. My mother's nagging didn't fit the brand. They ended up at a motel by the interstate where the pillows smell like bleach and regret. Then Karma went to work on schedule. Samantha convinced Ryan to mortgage the house to scale the app. She promised meetings, investors, a runway. He followed her like a tide follows the moon. The market hiccuped, the app fizzled, and the bank came calling. The house went. Samantha did too. The driveway stood empty except for his debt. I wish that had been enough. But cruelty rarely leaves quietly. My parents started whispering in town, at the grocery store, at church, anywhere ears gathered. She threw us out. She called the police on her own parents. Cold, heartless. Lies spread faster than truth because lies wear perfume. In the cereal aisle at Grant's Market, Mrs. Pruitt glanced at my cheek and said, "I heard you put your parents on the street." I picked up a box, set it back, and said, "The officers read the lease. Did your source?" Then I walked away. Some rumours die when you stop feeding them. I made a new plan. Document the lies. Shut them down. Protect my name. I called Mark. "Can we sue for defamation?" "Absolutely," he said. "They're making provably false statements that harm your reputation. We have witnesses." "Who?" "Mr. Roberts," he said. "He heard the confrontation. Margaret can testify to what they bragged at the market. And I'll take statements from neighbours who know they redirected their mail to your place." "File it," I said. "This week." Lawsuits move like winter. Slow, then sudden. Dates pinned to calendars like notes on a corkboard. My parents didn't show up at the hearing. Maybe they were ashamed. Maybe they didn't care. Maybe they thought I'd fold if they ignored me long enough. The judge didn't. "The defendant's statements were defamatory," she said. "Judgment for the plaintiff. Retraction ordered. Damages in the amount of $5,000. I didn't care about the money. I cared about the record. The public line carved in stone next to my name that said, 'She told the truth.' When I stepped out of the courthouse, Margaret was waiting with those bright, defiant eyes I've loved since I was little. She hugged me. "Their downfall isn't your burden, Emily," she said. "It's their karma." She was right. The weight slipped off like a coat in July. That night my phone lit up with a number I didn't recognize. I answered out of habit and heard my mother's voice, small and breathy. "One more chance," she said. "Just a week." I didn't argue. I blocked the number before the sentence finished and put the phone face down on the table. Sometimes strength is a word you say. Sometimes it's a word you refuse to hear. Silence came after that. Real silence, not the kind filled with held breath and second-guessing. I kept expecting it to ache. It didn't. It felt like the first deep inhale after someone takes their hand off your throat. Here is the part people don't say out loud. Cutting off your parents doesn't feel brave while you're doing it. It feels like walking on glass in the dark, one bare step at a time. In the first weeks, I'd catch myself listening for their keys or expecting my phone to vibrate with another guilt-wrapped message. But nothing came. I'd blocked the numbers, the emails, the doorways they used. The only updates came from Margaret because she loves me too much to let me be surprised by things that hurt. "They're still in the motel," she said over Saturday coffee, her hand wrapped around the mug like a promise. "Your father paces the parking lot. Your mother cries just loud enough for strangers to hear, but none of it's for you. It's for anyone who might take the bait." "They're looking for a landing pad," I said. "Not here," she said. "Never here again." I looked around her kitchen, old books on the shelf, a clock that ticked like a metronome, the smell of cinnamon on the air. This was peace, not quiet. Peace. Peace is what you build when you stop apologizing for taking up space. Something softened in me and something steeled. I am not responsible for saving them from the consequences of their choices. I am not responsible for Ryan's collapse or Samantha's vanishing act or a bank notice with Ryan's name on it. I am responsible for my locks, my lease, my life. When I walk through my condo now, the silence isn't heavy. It feels earned. I hear the dishwasher and not a lecture. I see my couch and not a suitcase. The air holds only what I've allowed to live here. Yes, the scar aches. Proof I chose survival. Margaret squeezes my hand when I visit and says, "You did what they never expected. You stood up." Mark tells me the same in lawyer speak. "You didn't just win a case," he says. "You set a boundary so bright nobody can pretend they don't see it." I am 30 years old, teacher, homeowner, survivor of my own family. My sanctuary stands not because no one tried to take it, but because I refused to hand over the keys. If you're listening to me, if someone you love has turned love into leverage, hear this. Your boundaries are not betrayal. They are survival. They are the map back to yourself when the people who raised you try to redraw the lines for their comfort. Your home is more than walls. It's your sanctuary, and no one, not even family, gets to take that away. So tell me, if you were in my place, would you call the police on your own parents or give them one last chance? Comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more Whispers of Revenge.